I'd like to start with your comment. I'd like to pay my respects to the Wurundjeri people, the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today. I take this opportunity to pay my respects to their elders, both past and present, and thank you for allowing us to be on their land to conduct our business. I would also like to pay my respects to any Aboriginal people who are attending this meeting today on the beautiful lands on which we meet today. My name is Kay Hijazi and I'm moderating this session today, and I'm a member of the Women of Colour Network Committee. Welcome members and allies to our Mental Health Week panel. We've got a huge lineup with us today. I hope this week has been really kind to you and you've had the opportunity to practice some self-care. I know I've been doing a bit of yoga and meditation this week just to take advantage of Mental Health Week, so that's been really lovely. I've got a few housekeeping rules just to mention. Once again, this session's being recorded, so please feel free to just switch your cameras off if you're not comfortable with that. We have 8 health, safety and wellbeing panel members presenting their health, safety and wellbeing tips today. So thank you for joining us. We'll also open up for questions at the end of the session. Otherwise, feel free to use the chat function. If you're viewing the session from your computer, you'll see a chat button at the bottom of the screen. And if you're viewing it from your mobile device, like your phone, just look for the 3 dots at the bottom of your screen and it says more. If you click on that, you'll be able to see a list with the chat. If you have any questions specific to your department, agency, mental health and wellbeing support, you can please add that to the chat and department reps can respond to your question or take on board and your feedback. And if you can, please add your department's name. You can rename but just by clicking on the 3 dots. Otherwise, if you're not comfortable to do that, that's okay as well. If your department agency is not presenting today, we will collate the questions and feedback and email the team for the session. Now, before we invite the first rep to present, can we please get a screenshot of everyone here today? If you don't want to be included in the photo, that's fine. You're welcome to keep it off, but we might just do a screenshot now. Sasha, are you doing?
Yep, just on the count. I'll wait for everyone to turn on their videos if they want to be in there. Okay, so on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Done. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Sasha, and everybody as well. So I'd like to start with Annette Rouse from Cenitex, the Health, Safety and Environment Manager. So off to you, Annette. Are you happy to start off?
I am. Let's give the technology a bash.
Yeah.
Because I'm never so great at that, but appreciate being first cab off the rank in that sense.
Brave.
Is that 1 second share? So you should be able to see that now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So just wanted to really step us through the support that's available at Cenitex and some of the things that we've been doing. So just to introduce myself, I'm Annette Rouse. I'm the Health, Safety and Environment Manager at Cenitex and work within a small team of fantastic women supporting the health, safety and environment at Cenitex. So just what are we doing really was sort of where I thought I'd start. So Cenitex works on the philosophy of early intervention when we're talking about mental health and wellbeing. And to support that philosophy, we've provided access to some bespoke support networks and resources. And we work to equip our leaders to be able to identify when team members also might be struggling and need some assistance. And we really want our people to feel empowered to seek support and help whenever they need that. Let me just click along again, the technology. So a little bit about what we're doing. So one of the pieces of a bigger body of work that we have in place is our Mind, Body and Life program. So the Mind, Body and Life program was designed to assist all our teammates with a diverse range of needs and interests to really improve their overall wellbeing by provision of a range of activities and different resources. So we've started with things like a series of webinars that we've run that I think everyone is experiencing, but in particular a lot of women, around being able to build resilience and some tips and tricks on that, being able to support children through lockdown and the ongoing challenges around homeschooling and all the things that might be coming up for kids as we go through this. Maintaining a nutritious diet, which I can put my hand up for. COVID kilos are a real thing, and I might have to dive into that a little bit more for myself as well. And we've recently launched the Family Wellbeing series. So we've got a 6-month program that runs through until the end of December. And there's access to a portal and podcasts and fact sheets that, you know, cover a range of topics. So things like strategies for managing work and family, self-care for working parents and kids, again, nutrition and exercise and sleep, which is one of those really key pieces to us having a healthy state of mind, I guess. And then the lead up to the end of the year, we're dropping in additional resources there around supporting mental health at home, and again, about building resilience and maintaining that resilience, as well as some school holiday tips as we come up to Christmas holidays already so quickly. Another piece of our program is our Take 15 for Your Wellbeing. So the Take 15 for Your Wellbeing program includes a portal or a hub rather on our intranet, where there's some ideas and inspiration and resources to support mental health through just focusing on taking 15 minutes a day to undertake some small and enjoyable things that help us to improve our sense of mood and maintain our well-being on that continuum. There's access to things like remote yoga classes and bodyweight classes, and even down to some tips on some crafts or hobbies that you might want to pick up or utilize just to take some of that, just some time for yourself during the day, right down to where to find a great walk in your local area while we've been through lockdown. We also have our 15-minute exercise challenge as part of that Take 15 for Your Wellbeing, which actually kicks off on Monday next week. And I'm not sure if you can hear a lot of noise in the background. I apologise. The bin man decided to come past right now. But the 15-minute exercise challenge first ran last year, and we got some really great feedback from, you know, the program over the weeks, and what people were able to take from that and the habits that they were able to build into their everyday and carry forward to assist with their wellbeing and general fitness. So it's done with a group of workmates, which again helps with the sense of connectivity and to support mental health and wellbeing, and to make sure that you're feeling supported through the program. So again, there's access to a portal with a video exercise library, for example, workout playlists, 24/7 support, and just that, you know, general pushing from other people within the team that are able to help you take that time for yourself. Another key piece of our wellbeing support within Cenitex is our mental health first aid officers. So it's a program that's been up and running for a little while now, and essentially it acts as a peer support program where a cohort within Cenitex have volunteered their time to provide that support. So they've all been mental health first aid trained, and they provide informal support to anyone who might be developing a mental health problem or be in a mental health crisis until the link can be made to appropriate professional help. And they can assist in just some guidance on how to access things like EAP or coaching or counselling or the like. And speaking of EAP, that was the other piece I thought I'd speak to today in terms of support available at Cenitex. So we've partnered with Benestar, and it's available for our team members and their immediate family members as well. And through that partnership, we also have access to our BeneHub platform. So at any time, on any device, whenever suits you, you can dive in and have a look at a range of topics through learning modules, through videos. You know, we've got meditations on there, self-assessments, all of those things that can just give you a snapshot and a moment in time to help support your well-being. And then I just thought it was really important to call out that I think we're at a point in time where there's opportunity moving forward. So as women, we're known to push our own mental health and wellbeing to the side while we're busy supporting everyone else. So be that our family, our children, at work, it's just a trait that we have. So the last 18 months have presented, you know, challenges that we really could never prepare for, I think. And there's been constant uncertainty, changes to how we work, varying impacts to our family dynamics, and each of our individual circumstances as women are different as well. So they all feed into fluctuating emotions and experiences. that are probably going to continue for some time while we get back to whatever our new normal looks like. And so I think it's just a point in time, like I said, to really see the opportunity to take that little bit of time every day to focus on ourselves. And so that's, I guess, what I'm encouraging everyone to do, to reach out, connect, take that time to support our own wellbeing and health, and then wherever we can, reach out and ask for any support if it's needed.
Annette, I'm just giving a little bell as a reminder, just as a timekeeping thing, just so.
No, that's okay. I am done because I can rabbit on for hours. So I'll
stop. Oh, thank you. Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Annette. That was lovely. Yeah, just to let you know as well, I am in the 15-minute challenge because DH is running it as well, and we have a highly competitive group in our team. So it's been a really interesting time and really good. Could I also please, so off to Carla Neale, who's the Organisational Psychologist for the Department of Education and Training. So off to you, Carla.
Thank you. Thanks, Kay. And thanks, Annette, for opening for us. I'm going to attempt to share as well. Just bear with me. Talk amongst yourselves. It's always a bit weird when you've got two screens and slide presentation mode, and it can get a bit weird. So just bear with me. I'll share that screen. Yep, that one. Okay, can everyone see a PowerPoint presentation up there? I'm going to leave it in this mode because it just makes it a lot easier for me with two screens. I can still see your faces. So I've recently joined Department of Education and Training. I was previously at Family Safety Victoria, which is part of DFFH. So to be honest, I probably know more about that department than DET. I'm still getting used to such a vast department and what it offers. I've come in as the organisational psychologist into our strategy team. So keeping in mind that we have the largest department of staff, we look after teachers, principals in government schools, but also our corporate staff. And I must say it's a pleasure to be here today with the Women of Colour Network. I have heard about the network and had friends in it, and I'm an admirer of it. And would like to be an ally to what you're trying to do to support your colleagues in the VPS. In terms of the mental health and wellbeing supports for corporate staff at DET, I've prepared just a couple of slides and really happy to distribute these after the session via Sasha and the team, if that's okay, team. But just to go through it pretty briefly, to be honest, these will be very similar across a lot of the departments that we'll be sharing today. So I won't go into detail about all of them, possibly just the things that might be a little bit different at DET. So we certainly have an employee assistance program as well, and I suspect many of us will. Keeping in mind that that's also for your immediate family members as well. I think people don't often remember that. Similarly, so our provider is LifeWorks, and they also have an online platform with lots of resources and tip sheets, support, guidance. So to access that platform, I'll provide a link to the DET intranet, which has the username and password to get into that. We've also, from our team, in the Employee Health, Safety and Wellbeing team, been running webinars as well throughout COVID. They're recorded and we have those uploaded online. We've got a range of topics, mostly focusing on resilience, burnout, change, transition, and COVID-19 and the different pressures that has presented for all of us. In terms of kind of, I guess, policy or procedural documents, look, these aren't always practically helpful, but to complement them, what we've created for both staff and managers is a procedure and a guide. Look, They are, I suppose, corporate documents, but what they also contain is some really practical advice about psychosocial hazards in the workplace. So that's a technical term, but really, what are the things that stress us out and create a burden on our mental health in the workplace? And what are some of the interventions and strategies that work for each of those? So this is something we share with all of the teams and leaders across DET, including school principals, managers, executives, to try and create and proactively, as Annette was saying, prevent mental health becoming an issue. So it is about a tiered approach where you want to promote a healthy workplace where people thrive, but you also want to have supports in place for people who might be struggling. So that's something we do for the department as well, is advise across that. In terms of specific support for managers, many of the EAP programs will have manager assist as part of them. I don't know that this is utilised enough. I think it should be used more. It can be used in terms of providing managers with support for themselves, of course, but also for supporting their teams. And when you're having challenging conversations or you're concerned about the wellbeing of your team members. So I will plug that. It's a really great service. The couple of things which I think might be a little bit different, and I'm curious to hear if other departments do this as well, is we've got a couple of advisory services for our managers as well. So we have a medical advisory service where if a manager has employees who are struggling with their health, that they can phone that and get expert advice on how to manage that. And we also have an occupational health and safety advisory service. So again, to help with preventing psychosocial hazards, that technical term again, preventing stresses and strains in the workplace from becoming a problem and trying to head them off at the pass, so to speak. So we do have mental health and wellbeing specialists who are able to advise on that. So that's a very broad overview of what we provide. You can always get in touch with our team if you have questions about what we do or would like to know more. Something I'm really interested to hear from this network in particular, and I think the Sasha and the convening team today will send out an invitation after the session, and I think all of the panel members would be interested to know, is for you as women of colour, as members of this network, is there anything more we can do? So we have these supports available, but we know sometimes they can be generic. They're not tailored always to specific needs. Sometimes there can be barriers to access. So really keen to hear from you after the session on if there's more we can do. Now, I also have a guest with me today. She's not a guest, I'm the guest. Malini is actually a member of the network, but I wanted to invite her to speak also about the DET Women of Colour Network. Malini.
Thank you, Carla, and a very warm, good afternoon to my sisters of color and all our allies who are present here today. So I'm Malini. I'm currently the lead for the Women of Color Network at the Department of Education and Training. And as Carla has outlined, we have a number of wonderful formal support mechanisms for us, right? Which many staff have used. But as Carla and I were just talking about, about a week or so ago, that for women of color, sometimes there might be barriers to accessing these support networks or these supports. So for example, there's some members of the network actually have this perception that perhaps the formal support is not necessarily culturally sensitive. And this is where I think informal networks, such as the Women of Color Network, really have a role to play, because while we're all working from home, and as we eventually start transitioning back to the office, still being able to connect with our colleagues, form some deep friendships, I think that's actually really, really critical. And especially where you can connect with people who might be from a similar background or who might be coming from a similar position, such as yourself, right, in terms of cultural sensitivity, then you're actually, it's not just like any other relationship that you might form in the, with your colleagues. This is a person perhaps with whom you can have a conversation where you feel more safe, right? More culturally safe. And that can actually go a long way to combat some of these compounding stresses that we actually have been feeling over the last 18 months or so. I think with many women of color, there are some additional considerations that often get overlooked. Many of us have families overseas in countries that have been very badly affected by COVID, and many of us have lost a number of loved ones. And often that is not visible in our workplaces here in Australia, right? And I think the Women of Color Network actually provides a great space where people can just open up and speak freely about what they're experiencing, both in their professional as well as in their personal lives, and know that that they will be listened to without judgment. And that might even then pave the way for as a first step towards accessing some of the formal supports which Carla has outlined. So I'll pop my email address in the chat window. If there's anyone here who just wants to have a chat over a virtual cuppa, I'd be more than happy to lend a ear.
Thank you so much, Malini. That was really important, a great insight into what some of our women of colour members are feeling and thinking, and just an insight to everyone of what are some of the situations that we, as women of colour members do go through. So yeah, I really appreciate your insights into that. And thank you so much, Carla, as well, for opening up the opportunity to be able to find out better ways to provide health, safety and wellbeing to women of colour members. So I really appreciate that. Next, we actually have Cathryn from the Department of Environment, Land and Water and Planning, Cathryn Kanizay, and I'm so sorry if I've pronounced that incorrectly, is a project officer from Health and Wellbeing. So off to you, Cathryn. And also just a reminder, I'm using a little bell as a timekeeping thing, so everyone gets the opportunity to present.
No, all good. I talk very quickly. I don't think I'll be longer than 5 minutes, to be honest. Let me just share my slides. Okay, so can everyone see that? Yep, okay, amazing. So thank you for the introduction. I'm Cathryn, the project officer in the Health and Wellbeing team at DELWP. So before I begin, I'd also like to pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the land. I'm attending this meeting from the lands of the Boonwurrung people of the Kulin Nation and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. So I thought I would begin with just an overview of some of the topics that and the activities that we have available at DELWP. So for Mental Health Month this year, we're doing a 28-day self-care challenge. So previous years we've done a walk-in challenge, but this year we looked at our EAP data, which showed that our people were seeking support for physical, mental, social, nutritional and career needs. So given that we know that wellbeing is more than just your physical health, we wanted this year's challenge to be more holistic and to really capture what our people were looking for in terms of their wellbeing needs. So I've provided an image of what the challenge looked like for week 1. You can see there's one self-care activity to do for each day of October, and the activities are relatively straightforward and easy to accomplish. Something that we've done in the Health and Wellbeing team is sharing how we're going with our self-care strategies each week. So you can see a picture of my vegetarian meal I did last week, and I sent that across to my team. And then my team members sent through some pictures of what they did. So for instance, my team leader, instead of decluttering an entire room, she decluttered one of her drawers, which she felt, was helped to be productive for that day. And so doing this has helped us build accountability, but it's also an opportunity for us to talk about something that's not work related, which is, it's nice given the environment that we're all in. We currently have 506 DELWP employees who have registered for the challenge, which we're very happy with. That was the target number we were aiming for. But for any DELWP staff members who are here today, it's not too late to join if you would like to join in the challenge. And if so, you can register through the Health for Life Hub. So another wellbeing activity that we've recently run was for Are You OK Day. So we did a wellbeing check-in with our people during one of our branch meetings. So this was conducted through Mentimeter, where we asked our people to respond to a series of questions. I've included an image of one of the questions, and these were the actual responses that we got from the activity. So the question was, how would your spouse, roommate, or pet say you've been recently? So this was quite effective because responses were anonymous and our people were able to reflect on how they were individually tracking, answer honestly, as well as have an understanding of how the people around them were going and feeling as a collective. We think it's really important to take moments to reflect and put words to how we're feeling and just really acknowledge how we're going, as well as to check in with those around us and just have an understanding of how they're going as well. We ended the activity by practicing gratitude, where we asked everyone to thank one of their peers in the group, which people were really responsive to. During times of stress and uncertainty, I think saying, thank you and acknowledging the efforts of those around us can be something that's easily forgotten. So our people particularly enjoyed this aspect of the activity and also having their efforts acknowledged and validated by others. A major outcome from doing this activity was that it increased people's engagement and participation with this group meeting. We'd noticed that people were slowly starting to turn their cameras off, they were slowly starting to disengage. So that really kind of just brought everyone in and they were quite present and interactive. And it also served as a reminder in regards to the importance of prioritising our wellbeing and dedicating time to check in with one another. I also know from this activity, a number of our peer supporters have actually incorporated similar activities with their virtual meetings, where they actively dedicate time to check in with one another, as well as to create opportunities to connect socially, like trivia. So I'll finish up with just an outline of what else we offer at DELWP in terms of our more formal support services. The first being the EAP program, which is offered by Converge International. So they offer 7 streams of support, like personal support, manager assist, career assist, and so on. Reach Out is one of our phone-based wellbeing supports. So people can self-refer to receive a phone call, or they can be referred by someone else. So this is just an opportunity for us to check in with our staff and to listen to what's going on for them and help them link to formal support services like EAP. More often than not, Reach Out's predominantly used just as an opportunity for our staff to have a chat and just really talk about what's happening for them. We also have our peer support program, which is aimed at early intervention. So we know that employees are more likely to seek support from a colleague than they are to a manager or to EAP. So we currently have 80 DELWP staff members who have volunteered to be peer supporters, and they're trained to look for the signs of wellbeing needs within their peers, as well as to listen to their concerns and link them to formal supports if that's needed. I'd also just like to highlight that we have peer supporters from different networks at DELWP, where Namrata is our peer supporter from the Women of Colour network and is more than happy to have a conversation and a chat for any specific needs. And then lastly, we have Fred Wright, who is our workplace conciliator. So he offers a confidential and informal space for employees to have conversations regarding workplace issues, as well as to get support resolving disputes and managing conflicts. So I'll finish up. Thanks for having me today. If there's any wellbeing inquiries, please don't hesitate to get in touch. I've popped in the email address, which is wellbeing.services@delwp.vic.gov.au.
Thank you so much, Cathryn. And just another important reminder of the importance of checking in on each other and connecting with people. Yeah, that was fantastic. Thank you. Next, we have Kristyn Hanna, who's the Manager of Employee Wellbeing Support, who currently supports DFFH and Department of Family Fairness and Housing, as well as the Department of Health. And Kristyn's actually a member of my working team. So off to you, lovely Kristyn. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Kay. And I actually don't have a slide deck, so I'm just here to actually talk about what we've got on offer in the Department of Health. And as Kay said, we are providing a shared service to the Department of Families, Fairness and Housing. So whilst we sit in health at this point, we share all of our offerings across both departments. So just before I start, I'd just like to say thanks very much for having me and inviting me today, but also just to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands we're all dialing in from today and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and of course all Aboriginal staff across our respective departments. So I guess for the Department of Health and Families, Fairness and Housing, we've got a real focus around prevention, early intervention and appropriate response. And so when I say that, what we're talking about is really engaging people proactively in supports and thinking about how do we make sure that our supports are holistic and meet the needs of our workforce, and people are engaging them in them early before the wheels fall off, but also when the wheels do fall off, that response that we provide to that is actually appropriate, relevant and meets the need for what the situation is. So in the departments, we have a range of offerings similar to what everyone has talked about today. So we have the Employee Wellbeing and Support Program offered by Converge International. That program, we don't call it EAP, and we really moved away from that terminology a couple of years ago. So, and that was in recognition of the reputation and stigma, I suppose, that sits with EAP as a name. And so what often people were saying, oh, if you only go to EAP, if you're in a crisis, or there was a real stigma around weakness and needing to get access and get support. So when we changed providers and put in a new program, we moved away from that terminology to really think about, well, how do we encourage people to access support like in a holistic, proactive, preventative way, and so change the name of our service to the Employee Wellbeing and Support Program. And along with that, we've done heaps of changes in the way that we talk about it. We really try not to use EAP at all through any of our language, all our comms and things like that. So really focus on the preventative and proactive nature of it. That program is available to all immediate family members of our staff members as well. And we have 9 streams of support available in that service. And as well as that, we've also got a couple of unique services that we have worked with the provider Converge to develop and put in place for the department. So we have a service called Proactive Manager Assist, which works similar to Manager Assist, but it provides unlimited access to coaching and support for managers around developing them both professionally and personally, but also how do they manage themselves and their wellbeing, as well as that of their teams. And I guess that's really in recognition of, we know that being in a people leadership role is really difficult, and lots of the things that people deal with day to day aren't anything that you can learn through an MBA or some kind of a leadership program. And so how do we make sure that leaders have that consistent support available to them to help them to have those difficult conversations, manage those difficult situations, and all of the things that come across their desk, as well as the work that needs to be done as well. In addition to that, we also have a service called Executive Platinum Support, which is focused on executives, so a support program for executives, recognising that the challenges that executives face are quite different to the rest of the organisation, and so really making sure that they have access to support, again, for them, for their own wellbeing needs, but also how do they navigate their life, I guess, as an executive, and support their teams and things like that. So both of those services, as I said, are unique to the Department of Health and Families and Fairness and Housing, and have unlimited access for our people leaders. And I suppose the other thing to note around that is we provide a lot of tailored support as well. So we do a lot of work with teams, branches, to think about what are actually the needs of workforces and how do we ensure that we provide appropriate support. So we work really closely with Converge and really try to challenge the assumptions and some of the products, and really thinking outside the square that, how do we actually make sure that what we deliver to our staff is appropriate and really meets their needs, and really thinking about, well, just because that might be the offering, that doesn't necessarily meet the needs. So how do we work together to really make sure that we can meet the needs of the workforce? The other thing we have is the peer support network, and I think someone's just commented on that, which is really great. So we have just over 80 peers across both Department of Health and Department of Family, Fairness and Housing. So similar to DELWP, our peers are there to provide informal and confidential support to our staff members for personal or work-related issues. Our peer support network is available to any employee anywhere in the organisation, so you can contact any peer regardless of where you work or your location or anything like that. I guess the benefit of the peer support network is that they have an understanding of the organisation, they understand the current environment, the context. You know, you'll all be very aware that the Department of Health and Families and Fairness and Housing has gone through significant change as a result of the MOG, and so our peers are in a really great place to provide support to staff because of their understanding of what's going on in the organisation. And their role is about navigating pathways and linking people to other supports if they need it, whether that's internal to the department or whether that's external and through community-based organisations. We also have a workplace facilitator, MMA Litchfield, again providing a shared service across both departments. And MMA's role, similar to what DELWP have, is around providing support for workplace issues. So really trying to resolve issues locally and before they escalate, I suppose. So really working with employees and managers and teams to really work on that conflict management and how they might prevent things from escalating and improving someone's experience of work. The other thing that we have on offer is the My Mental Fitness app, which is an app that can be downloaded onto phones, and it's really about doing an assessment of your mental fitness and identifying what the gaps are and how you can improve your mental fitness. So mental fitness, like physical fitness, can be trained, and there are things that we can do, and self-care is a really great one to think about, I suppose, in terms of mental fitness. But the app is a really great opportunity for people to engage in wellbeing in a different way. If they don't want to make a call, or they don't want to have an appointment, or that kind of thing, they can download the app, do an assessment, identify where their gaps are. The app has lots of great resources on it as well, where people can link into some videos or some articles to read on where their gaps are and the things that they might do to improve their mental fitness. And that's provided by Converge International. So also links in if someone does need some support, they can link in directly from that, and also identifies and contacts people if they do have really low mental fitness. There is a mechanism for Converge to reach out to them quite subtly, just to say, hey, your mental fitness wasn't that great, would you like to connect in to get some support? So again, trying to proactively engage with people to improve their wellbeing. We also, as Kay mentioned, we've got the 15-minute challenge, and I'm also in a team and fiercely competing with Kay's team. So it's been a really great initiative. And we've had really similar feedback to what I think, Annette, you spoke about at Cenitex. We ran it, this is our 3rd year running for the 15-minute challenge, and it's been a really great opportunity to create connection between team members and just really great sharing of things that people do to maintain their fitness. And it's 15 minutes a day, so very achievable, but a really great opportunity for people to think about, how do I change my habits physically to actually improve my mental wellbeing? And so that's something that we run. And there's a whole lot of other initiatives that we run across the organisation, like webinar series that we'll run from time to time, depending on what's going on in the organisation. We really try to think about what's going on in the organisation, where are we going to get most engagement, and where is it relevant for people to engage in some things like a webinar series. So the other thing I just wanted to really quickly touch on, Kay, if I've got 1 minute, was a really great framework that can be considered in terms of how do we actually look after ourselves every day. So we've got all of these really great supports available, and I encourage anyone from Health and FFH and anyone across any of your organisations to tap into them, give them a go. Try one, if you didn't like it, try something else. Use one consultant at your EAP or employee wellbeing and support provider. If you didn't like them, try another one. So really encourage you to engage, but really to think about what are the things that you can do day to day to manage your own self-care and your mental wellbeing. So there's a really great framework, which some of you may be familiar with, called the 5 Ways to Wellbeing, which focuses on some really practical ways of supporting your wellbeing. So there's 5 actions around awareness, learning, keeping active, connecting, and helping others. And I'm happy to share the framework in the chat, but it's a really good thing to have a little look at and think about. They're 5 actions that you can take every day to really make a difference to your wellbeing and a way that you can look after yourself. And that might include accessing some of those formal support and or just some of the things that you can include in your day. So just encourage you to think about other ways that you can look after yourselves. And similar to what Carla said, and as I mentioned at the start, we're really focused on making sure that our offerings meet the needs of our workforce. So I'd be really keen and interested to hear from any members of the Women of Colour Network around what else can we do and what are the barriers. I think a really great example of that is last year we ran a specific training for our peer support network, and we now have a cohort of Aboriginal staff who are trained support our Aboriginal workforce, and that was based on feedback from the Aboriginal workforce saying that the other offerings didn't really meet the needs. So we consulted with them to say, well, what would that look like? And we've now got this other program of support. So really keen to hear from anybody if you've got any thoughts, and I'm very happy to be contacted. And as well, in the link, I'll just share the link to our SharePoint page, which has the information on all of the available supports that you can access in either of the Department of Health and Department of Families, Fairness and Housing, and also my email address. Happy to talk to anyone anytime. Thanks, Kay.
Thanks very much, Kristyn. And yeah, it is Health and Safety Month as well for the Department of Health and Department of Family, Fairness and Housing. And in Kristyn's signature as well, we have a direct link to our calendar of events for the month, as well as mine. So thank you so much, Kristyn. Next, we have Fiona Lewis from the Department of Jobs, Precincts and Regions. Now, Fiona is the Mental Health and Wellbeing Senior Advisor. So thank you, Fiona.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for inviting me along today. I feel like we're learning so much from each department. It's great to connect with everyone. I'm going to talk today a little bit about what our department, DJPR, offers. We have a really holistic approach to our wellbeing program. So we focus not only on physical health, but emotional, social and mental as well. We offer a huge range of resources, support services and initiatives. Our EAP provider is Converge International as well. So very similar to a lot of the department's offerings here as well. And I don't have any slides to share, but I'm going to, after I finish presenting, put the relevant links in the chat. So if anyone wants to get involved in anything I talk about, you can click on it there, or you can send me an email as well. So last month, a program that we ran, which was our most successful initiative yet, was called Spring into September. We had over 2,000 staff members participate in a range of online activities. We had 25 activities offered throughout the month, and it included mindfulness sessions, wellbeing workshops that were facilitated by an organisational psychologist from Converge International, and they focused on building your own self-care strategy and positive affirmations. We also hosted an Are You OK Day event that had over 500 staff attend, and we did a movement challenge. So it wasn't only steps that counted, but all other movement could be converted to steps as well. And we had 110 team members participate in that, and they walked a total of 92 million steps over the month, which is amazing. I think this was a little bit of a different approach that we are trying to do within the department. We did do a similar initiative in July that focused on nutrition, physical activity, reducing your alcohol consumption, and quitting smoking as well. So, you know, throughout that month, we had a range of tools and webinars, as well as activities that people could get involved in, such as cooking demonstrations. So moving forward, this is something that the department is definitely going to continue. We also ran a program called Coffee Roulette. So that promotes the opportunity to connect and have uplifting conversations with your colleagues. So it's kind of designed to replace that incidental water cooler conversation that we're missing out on at the moment. And that is run every month. So each month you're paired up with someone different within the department, and then you can organise a 30-minute catch up via Teams to connect. And each month you're paired up with somebody different. So it's a lovely way to meet new people across the department. Moving forward, we received such positive feedback about our Spring into September campaign. We worked really closely with our comms team. We have roughly 4,000 staff across Victoria. So it's really important that we communicate through all different channels and get people involved. A couple of things that are ongoing and available at the moment for DJPR staff to get involved in is the support for parents. This really came through in our EAP data that a lot of people were contacting EAP for advice around, looking after their children and parenting. So we're offering a couple of seminars. There's one called Parenting While Working from Home. So this focuses on how to create realistic expectations when homeschooling and working, and you'll also gain advice on how to notice signs of stress and anxiety in children. We also have a seminar on positive parenting, so that focuses on building emotional intelligence with advice for parents on how to balance their own well-being with positive parenting strategies. Converge has also put together and developed a range of tip sheets, so the importance of play for kids, how to support your teenager that might be struggling with mental health concerns, or how to talk to young kids about COVID. So there's some really great resources available on the intranet, and I'll provide provide the link after this as well. We started offering mindfulness sessions a couple of years ago, and they have been our most popular activity that we run. You know, we get over 100 people signing up to each activity, each mindfulness session that we run. So at the moment, we are offering 15-minute mindfulness sessions 4 times a week. If you haven't practiced mindfulness before, I encourage you to give it a go. Or if you are really well practiced in it, sign up. Elizabeth is our facilitator. She's got a wealth of experience, and the benefits include things like reduced stress, improved sleep, reduced fatigue. It can help increase your productivity, and it can support your physical health as well. A couple of other things that we've got on offer in the department is access to an online virtual gym. So it's kind of like having your own personal trainer in your living room. We've got 30 pre-recorded trainer-led sessions, and they are updated regularly that you can click on to. You don't have to be an athlete to get involved. You know, they range from high intensity, boxing to yoga, meditation, stretching. They give you some stretching, how to do them at your chair and things like that. So there's also a range of really delicious recipes on there that are provided by Marlee Spoon. We've got the coffee roulette program that I mentioned as well. So we have quite a lot of activities on offer, and if you have a look at our wellbeing calendar, you'll be able to see what's on for the rest of the year as well. And as the last speaker spoke about as well, as things pop up, as we return to the office and things like that, we'll be offering, kind of bespoke webinars and things to help support our staff. But my one kind of tip is that we do have so much on offer. Don't try and do everything all at once. Pick one thing, give it a go. If you like it, add it to your self-care tip. But if it's not for you, try something else. So, you could go onto the virtual gym and give the yoga a go, or you could do the stretching. You could set a 15-minute reminder in your diary every day to do, your mindfulness practice, or just to go for a quick walk around the block. It's probably your most important meeting of the day, is to look after your well-being. So if you have any questions about anything, feel free to reach out. I'm always very happy for a chat. And I will just finish with, we are creating a wellbeing champion network. My amazing colleague, Lisa, has done a lot of work around that. We really want to hear feedback from our employees. And because we are so diverse and such a large department, we want to make sure that we are offering support. So we are inviting a representative from each network to come along to those meetings, and we're also inviting a representative from each group. So it'll be they'll be the eyes and ears on the ground, providing us feedback, but also helping us promote all of our initiatives as well. So the first activity that will happen within that meeting is we're going to be building our 2022 wellbeing calendar. So we're really excited about that. And yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Fiona. Love the coffee roulette idea, and the Innovation Network VPS coffee dates, I'm part of that, and I find that really helpful to connect with people across the department. So yeah, thank you so much, Fiona, for presenting on that. Next we have Sarah Morrison, who's from the Department of Justice and Community Safety. Sarah's a Senior Health and Wellbeing Advisor, as well as Amy Hager, who's a Wellbeing and Health Programs Consultant. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. Yes, I'm representing the team today. Unfortunately, Amy couldn't be with us, but the two of us make up the Central Wellbeing team at Department of Justice. Like a lot of the organisations, we're quite diverse. We've got lots of different types of teams and types of workers across the whole of Victoria, with over 10,000 staff. We do a lot of really targeted programs at Department of Justice. So we work on a lot of programs to reduce injury and illness in targeted groups. So there's heaps of them I could talk about. I'm not going to talk so much about them today because I wanted to provide more sort of information that was accessible to everyone, but happy to answer questions about those offline. For example, at the moment, we're running a program just for our sheriffs called the Wise Sheriffs Program, which is all about tailored programming around specific risks, physical and mental risks that they have in their particular job. So we do a lot of those targeted programs, but let's talk more broadly because I thought it might be helpful for the group today. So first of all, one of the things we've been talking a lot about in the department is looking at what are the things we can really do to help to support ourselves at the moment. It's been a really challenging time, and we've seen through data and anecdotally that, you know, our staff have felt, you know, really challenged emotionally and mentally over particularly the last few months with the recent lockdown. So there was a recent study that we've been looking at. It was done in the States. It was really large, and it looked at the modifiable risk factors for depression. And one thing stood out as the most protective factor for people that was modifiable. And we pose this question a lot to staff. And I wonder if people want to put in the chat what they think it might be. What would be sort of the most protective factor for people to reduce their risk of depression, looking at modifiable factors, that is. Having a friend to talk to, someone putting there, connecting to people. Yep, absolutely. And there's, you know, there's so much other research that supports that as well. So confiding in others, connecting with others. So this has been a really big focus, is how do we increase this, particularly when people, a lot of our staff, about half of our staff, over 5,000, connection to country, so feeling connected, right? People are putting some comments in there. How do we help people to feel connected at the moment, particularly when we're feeling perhaps more isolated? So we've done a lot of things in that space, including, you know, training and upskilling leaders. We've added additional modules into management training. We've revamped induction programs, these sorts of things. But obviously, we've also got other ways that people can connect in and talk to someone. We've got an employee wellbeing support service through Converge International as well. We've got specialist hotlines, and you can see the wheel there with the range of support, so it goes beyond employee assistance. And that's free, you know, for all our staff to access. We also have a peer support program. We have an unusual model, I guess, in the sense that we have different names for different peer supporters in different parts of the business, because it has developed over time. So we have our staff support team in prisons, our peer support workers in youth justice custodial sites. They're actually rostered on as an extra for a shift as a peer supporter. And we have our mental health first aiders for the rest of department. They all have mental health first aid training at their core, but there's slightly different sort of guidelines and arrangements depending on where those peer supporters are based. As you can see there, we've increased the network considerably over the last year, and we're actually continuing to develop and grow that network. So we've got more training happening in November and December. A key part of that network is that we have created an online community on our intranet where all of our peer supporters are connected. And that's a way that we are continuing to support and develop that group. We also are putting together a calendar of development opportunities for that network, which we're putting together at the moment. And I think our Department of Justice and Community Safety Women of Colour Network members have just been appointed, I believe, or they're about to be announced or something along those lines. So when we do get to connect in with them, I would love to meet our representatives and hopefully, you know, get perhaps an opportunity for them to come and meet the Mental Health First Aider Network and explain a little bit more about maybe the unique challenges and stresses that women of colour are facing at this point in time. I think that would be a really great addition. We are getting other sort of networks and groups coming along to present to our peer support network as well. We also did proactive support for our executives, which was new. So that was basically an opt-out program from November to April. We had around 68% uptake, and we found such a high uptake rate, I think, because of the opt-out option rather than opt-in. And most people that didn't end up using the program, that was because they already had community support. So they were already engaged with the professional to get that type of support. We also made it easier for our executive to get health checks. We haven't had as much uptake on this because it is face-to-face, so we had a very small window, and hopefully we will get it happening again. But an important part about this program is that, so it was already available in our executive contracts where people could get a reimbursement. What we've done is made it really easy by finding a provider so that people can just choose to go through that method and they don't have to seek reimbursement. And we ended up going through UHG and working with them really closely to ensure that the process of booking in for that check was a really positive one. for everyone. So we really worked hard on the form and the questions that were asked in the form, as well as there's an open offer. When people go through the process, they can actually select the type of doctor that they would like to engage with. That might include cultural background, experience with particular groups, experience with people with a disability, whatever it, they would feel comfortable, more comfortable with. So I think that's been a really positive part of that offering. Another thing that we've been doing is we've been getting out to teams, and part of that, encouraging people to confide in each other. There's a number of ways we can also support that. So we've been getting out and talking to groups. We've had wellbeing forums recently that have had over 1,000 attendees. We had all staff forum around wellbeing. We've had team presentations, Are You OK Day sessions, just a range of things. And we've been using a number of tools and sort of key messages through those. I wanted to share a couple that have really resonated, that people afterwards have said to us, this has been super helpful, and we've really used this. So we thought that would be helpful to share with everyone today. So the first one has been creating a morning ritual. This is something that is really simple. It is within everyone's control, which is important at the moment, to kind of focus in on things that we have capacity to influence. And it's about working out what are the first 3 things you're going to do in the morning to set you up for success that day. How do you be really intentional about the things you want to do to start the day in a calm, positive mindset, essentially? So we've been encouraging people to consider what's the first thing, next thing, and the next thing. So the first 3, and then considering that, what time do you need to go to bed in order to get up in time to do this thing? So I encourage you all to experiment with that and give it a go, and see what works for you. I've been getting up to keep me accountable. I send a friend of mine a positive quote for the day. I then do a 15-minute dance exercise session because I love it, and then I have my smoothie. And they're my 3 things. Other people have shared, they might get up and pray, play with their children, have breakfast. Whatever it is, we're encouraging it to not include technology if possible, and do 3 things that just really inspire you and make you feel good. So that's one tool that you might want to share with others. The other thing we've been doing within teams to create a sense of care and connection in the team, particularly when teams are dispersed and working from home, we're getting people to write these up and put them at the back of their screens. So essentially pop this up on your desk somewhere. What is one thing I can do to boost my energy today? And there's lots of things everyone has mentioned. We're the same. We've got online videos people can do. We've had September activity challenge, but it's just getting people to think out what's one small thing, tiny thing I can do today to boost my energy. Second thing is, how can I lift someone else's mood today? Whether that be through humor, reaching out to someone I haven't chatted to in a while, listening to someone, just unload for a moment if they need that. What's one thing I could do just to lift someone's mood? And the third thing is, how can I make someone's work life easier? Is there a task you can help someone with who's really busy? Can you be a sounding board for brainstorming? Can you connect someone in with someone else that would help them, or share a good resource? There's many ways that we can make work life easier for each other as well. So feel free to share those if they are helpful. We like that picture of the dogs. It's for us, it's how do we be the reason someone smiles today is another kind of motto we've been trying to encourage everyone to think of. That is it from me. Happy to have any questions as well. I'll try and stop sharing. Hang on.
Thanks so much, Sarah. Please bear with us. We have one more presenter, and we're happy to get through a couple of questions at the end of the session, and anything we don't get through today, we'll definitely respond to a majority of those at a later date. And also, thank you, Sarah, for mentioning about the Women of Colour Network at DJCS. We're in the final stages of that recruitment process, so that's getting finalised really soon, so thank you. Now, our final presenter for today is Maree from the Innovation Network. Now, Maree is a strategy and engagement lead for the public sector reform. So off to you, Maree.
Thank you so much, Kay. And I understand that we're at time, so I will try to make this as brief as possible. And I also understand that some of you, for your own mental health, might actually like to drop off and go about lunch or whatever it is you have for this afternoon. So I'd like to start with an acknowledgement, which is that I'm on the lands of the Arakwal people of the Bundjalung Nation. and I want to pay my respect to the traditional custodians of the land here, whose connection and preservation of land and culture and its water enables me to look after my own mental health. Because apart from dancing, nature is where I find my mental health is at its strongest. And so I wish to pay my respects to all First Peoples today, past, present, and emerging. So yes, I'm Maree. I work on the Innovation Network as the Strategy and Engagement Lead, and we're part of VPSC now. And I kind of wanted to start, and I know that this is going to take a little moment, but I'm actually curious to know how your mental health is today. So in light of Cathryn's mentioning of check-ins, I wanted to check in with everyone. I also want to apologise if you can hear the construction. There's a house being built right next door. So I'm just going to ignore that and hope you can't hear it. But I want you to pop, if you were thinking about one word and you were to write it into the chat, but not press enter just yet. Because what we do sometimes in the public sector innovation team and the innovation network, when we want to get a gauge of how people are feeling, we ask them to do a check-in at the start of a meeting or the start of a facilitated workshop, just so that we can work out what kind of energy's in the room, to normalize feelings that might be coming up for people that we've all gone through, and also just to understand how we can go forward with what we're doing. So write your word in and you can press enter. Yep, whimsical, hesitant, trying not to stress too much about work. I get that too. Sad, it's Friday, tired, hungry. Okay, you're allowed to go and eat. Overwhelmed. Yeah, it's amazing how when we ask that question, so many different things come up for different people, and that might be different tomorrow as to how it was feeling the other day. Looking forward to the weekend, me too. So I imagine a lot of you know about the Innovation Network because you're here. So you're either here through the Women of Colour Network or the Women of Colour Network and their allies, which are groups on the network. And if you haven't come to this session through those groups and you've come another way, welcome. And if you haven't seen the Innovation Network, I encourage you highly to join. It's free. It's a whole of government network accessible to anyone in the VPS. We're 15,000 plus people and growing, interested in working differently to make a better government, but also better government for citizens. When Celia Tran first approached the Innovation Network to create the Women of Colour community of practice on the platform, I remember viscerally feeling that this is what we were set up to do. We were bringing peers together. We were celebrating and uplifting the diversity, lived experience and perspective of people in the VPS and those that we serve. Because diversity, whether it be thought, perspective, lived experience, however diversity looks to you, is what government truly needs to solve the challenges that we're facing into. And big challenges that government are asked to solve. So when the challenges are big and they affect us in ways like coronavirus has, in our work, our personal lives, we're a place in government that we really hope that people can come to know that that your motivation and we care about you is a way that we can support you. However we can do that. And we've got lots of different ways. So we've got blogs and toolkits, online events, on-demand events, and of course the groups that you might have come to this session through. So I just wanted to show you, I'm going to share my screen really quickly here. Bear with me one moment. I'm hoping this works. Can you all see that screen? Yes, I'm getting some nods there. Okay, cool. So basically, if you wanted to, and I wanted to show you how to actually search things on the Innovation Network because we had a new platform designed and I want to make sure that you can access all the great stuff that we have. So in our Learn section here, you can basically head down here to a different category. Now I'm going to go, whoops, I'm going to go to See All and I'm going to look up Wellbeing. So I'm going to flip this round, sort Z to A, and right here, we've got a little Wellbeing tab. So all of our content that's Wellbeing related is tagged to this. So you can see that we've got on demand, we've got blogs, we've got toolkits, we've got case studies that have been written, we've got live events, we've got on-demand events. We've basically got a ton of content that could be potentially helping you and supporting your well-being, whether that's your own personal well-being or what you're trying to support your team to achieve. I also just want to take you through a couple of the wonderful pieces of content that people from this network have actually created or been involved in creating for us. So Begin the Day with a Tomato. Malini created a beautiful and inspiring piece of content, which is all about connection. I want you to read it and I want you to feel as inspired as I was about how we can actually be supporting each other. This article actually made me cry when I read it. And it was such a beautiful way of understanding that we're all going through different things and we're just wanting to be here to support each other. Focus, recharge and restore is actually just an amazing list of all of these mindfulness resources that we have. Now, Nancy Wong was this incredible person who's also in this network, and she led some VPS meditation sessions, largely through the long lockdown that we had last year. And she took time off from her incredibly busy work in COVID response to actually, on her days off, deliver a 30-minute meditation session to people in the VPS. So it kind of just shows what kind of people we have access to in the VPS and how we all care and want to support each other. Now, I'll just quickly run through a couple of other bits. Work-life balance is an on-demand piece of content that you can look at, which gives you some tips on how you can create a better calendar, essentially, and how you can try to stop doing quite so much. A lot of us feel really overwhelmed when we look at our calendars every day, and this is a little recording to help you sort of through that. Psych safety is one of those things that can really help us understand how to work better in our teams. So psychological safety is really about team members feeling really safe to experiment and try things, which is really important in not only the government context, but also the innovation space. It's led by the Behavioural Insights Unit, which is in DPC. Benefits of building resilience, I should say. And you'll also see here that all of these little tags in this corner tell you what kind of content it is. So this piece of content is, oops, my screen's doing strange things for me. I hope you can still see things. So this is actually a blog or a story. That's what that little coloured piece means. I'm going to jump here because I'm from BPSC, and they've actually got a wonderful wellbeing toolkit, which is also just listed on their own website, and we have links to that as well. There's also a ton of current events that are coming up. Here are some toolkits. Sorry, I'm just like flicking through things because I know we're short on time. But here are some amazing WorkSafe sessions that are actually coming up in the next couple of weeks that you can join. Everything on the Innovation Network is free. So I encourage you to jump on there, check out Wellbeing, type in anything that you might be interested in into the search function. And what we rely on is the people in our membership to share and tell us what they need in government, and we create content around that. So if you've got any suggestions for us, I encourage you to reach out and let us know what you need, and we'll do our best to support you. Thanks so much for asking me to come.
Oh, Tar, thank you so much, Maree. Look, we're getting close to the end of the session. We have run a little bit over time, but it was just, all the information was just so valuable and important. We really didn't want to, wanted all the presenters to be able to give all the valuable information. But any questions that we haven't been able to get to, we definitely going to get responses to those from our panel members and get back to you with those questions post-session. We've had a few questions about the 15-minute exercise challenge, so we will get back to you about those. Now, for our Women of Colour Network members, just a reminder that there is a 30-minute yoga session with Kim today at 4 p.m, and the link was sent in the members' email this morning. To contact the Women of Colour Network, it's by Gmail, subscribe to our mail list. We also have a LinkedIn page and through the Innovation Network that Maree was just talking about. Yeah, thank you so much. Is anything else anyone would like to contribute before we finish off today? We might, do you still want to do a group photo session at the end? I had a little note.
Yeah, because we've got more people right now. If for those who are comfortable with putting your video on, we'd love to see your faces. I'll just set to gallery view. I just want to, take a photo of everyone. Great. I'll give everyone a minute or so if you want to join us in this photo. It's lovely to see everyone's faces. Thanks for joining us today. Okay, I'll just wait for a bit more. Okay, I'll count everyone down.
Thank you.
Oops, hang on. Great, thanks, Kanizay. All right, and ready, 3, 2, 1. Got it, thank you.
Thanks. And just to let you know, we'll be sending out a short feedback next week to all attendees and the Women of Colour Network members around the current supports provided by your departments and organisations, barriers in access, and how your department can improve on the supports available. All feedback will be anonymous. We'll only ask for your department organisation, as well as we will be sharing the responses to the respective team. And I know we had questions about the 15-minute challenge, and also how were the responses for all those living alone and with no pets for DELWP was another question. So we will definitely get back to you on those. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you have a lovely weekend. Thank you immensely for joining us today, Women of Colour Network members and allies, and our wonderful panel members. So yeah, thank you so much, and hope you have a lovely weekend. Thanks the exec team as well for all your help today. Bye everyone.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Cathryn.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Bye.
Maree.
Thank
It was
you
lovely.
so much, Maree and Cathryn.
All right, I'm ending the meeting. Bye.
Bye.